So we all have our problems. We all have that thing that torments us, that vice, that lust, whatever it is. Each and every one of us is going through some difficult moment, some evil that is plaguing you right now. Now, I don't want to, call out specific things, but just think to yourself right now, what is that one thing that you can't shake off? What is that one little vice, that little thing that you know is bad for you, that you know is a sin against God, whatever? What is that one thing that you can't shake off? And, I have that. I know what mine is, emphatically, but you need to know what yours is as well. The reason why I kind of do this exercise is because we have to learn to be honest with ourselves. I'll give you an example of my life, right? So I've been improving, right? I've been growing. I think I'm a much better person than I was 2 years ago. I'm an even better person than I was 5 years ago. I've grown so much in so many amazing ways. I've learned, I've experienced many amazing things. I've experienced this world in so many great ways. But last couple of days, couple of weeks have kind of taught me that there's actually a lot more to learn. That I can't let myself get in my own head. I can't let my ego be too big. I cannot be swallowed up by pride because there is still so much room to grow. And I personally have to be honest with myself. I'm still the type of person that gets super angry, super easy. I had a horrible day yesterday. Yesterday was, well, it is what it is. Chalk it up to just unlucky things that I couldn't really control. But I let it get the better of me. I was super angry, and that's a big one, right? The pride is another big one for me. What I'm, what I'm kind of doing this episode for is to, wake you up a little bit. Like, you have to be honest with yourself. That with me in my life, in my case, I reflected on the year, and I'm saying 2026, it's going to be a great year. 2027, it's going to be a great year because there is going to be so much more growth, so much more humbling, so much more humility that I have to find and that I have to go out and actually pursue. Because, I've gotten better, but there's still a lot of things where I fall short. A lot of things where I fall short of the glory of God. I say that I want to glorify God in all that I do, but then really reflecting on my days, even today already. It's Sunday, right? It's the Lord's day, but I've already made a few mistakes today, and if I'm trying to glorify God in all I do, obviously I'm not going to be perfect, but I have to do better because there's still a lot of places where there's a lot of holes, a lot of things where I'm doing wrong, and I'm displeasing God. God looks down on me, and I think about it like this. He looks down on me and he's disappointed. He's like, "My son, why are you behaving this way? Why are you doing this?" And that's how I imagine it, and it's true because I do continue to sin in many terrible ways. And I'm sure it's kind of the same for you. It might not be the same issues I have, it might be different issues, or it could be something similar. We all are going through tough times. Whatever way the devil wants to try and break your faith, whatever he wants to do to make you sin and make you fall, and whenever you trust in yourself and in your flesh, you fail. We all know these things, and it's easy to know them. It's easy to read the Bible, and it's easy to understand the concepts and logically explain why you should do better, but it's much harder to actually emotionally wrap your head around it. Again, with every vice, every addiction, you can give 10, 15 reasons why not to do it, why not to do that, have that smoke, have that drink, whatever. You could give 15 reasons why you shouldn't do it, but the one reason why you do it is the good feeling. That's it. That's how it works. That's how addictions work, and that's why they're so powerful. That's why they destroy so many people's lives. It's about going through the experiences to make you a stronger person emotionally, where you're less susceptible to biting at certain temptations from the devil. And that is what we are trying to do here on this planet. That's what I'm trying to do. I don't know about you, but I'm being honest with myself, is that I still fall short. I'm still lacking. I still have things where I have to grow and improve in. And, I'm not, as much as my pride sometimes wants me to think that, oh, I'm so good, like, oh, I'm good. There's nowhere, whenever someone humbles me, I get pissed off because that's my own pride talking. I'll put it like that, right? It's not true. It's not true. I have so much more I have to learn and grow, and so many more humblings I have to, experience before I actually become the type of person that is stronger, less likely to bite at the face of temptation. And it's a lifelong process. So the whole point of this episode, I think, I don't really have like a structure to it. Like, really the whole point is just, you got to be honest with yourself. You have to really look in the mirror. Don't let pride take over. Don't let anger take over. Don't let lust take over. Realize that there are issues, there are ways, places where you fall short, and understand that the growth is really never over. right? And that's the beauty of this world, is the beauty of life, is the beauty of God's grace and the free will and all of this, is that we can grow each and every day, and there is opportunity, there's potential for each and every one of us. It's about being honest, being humble, accepting your faults, accepting that you have issues, and actually, spending time repenting. Never stop asking God for forgiveness, even if you start to feel like you continue to fall into the same sin, because that's where the devil wants to trick you the most. That's all the devil wants to do, is break your faith, and he has many ways of trying to do it. So you got to be aware, you have to be vigilant and ready to fight back against the devil's lies and the devil's temptations. But I think where that comes is start by being humble, start by being honest, internalizing the fact that, okay, I think I'm this better person. I've grown in so many amazing ways, but where have I actually grown? Like I still do this, I still do that, I still fail and fall in these ways. So there are many ways and many things you can explain where it's like, okay, I haven't grown. I actually haven't grown here in this specific aspect. In this aspect, maybe I have. But in this specific thing, I have not grown yet. I'm still the person I was before, where I'm still biting into temptations. I'm still letting it take me over, and I still don't have control over my own emotions. In whatever it is. Again, like as I said at the beginning, you think of whatever situation it is for you. I know what my situations are. But whatever it is for you, some addiction, some vice, lust, right? When I say lust, you know what I'm talking about, right? Or just, plain anger, plain ego and pride, like coveting, wanting things and pursuing things for the want of them rather than for, the deeper spiritual meaning. Whatever the issue is you're dealing with, right? Give a couple of examples. I'll leave it up to you, right? I don't want to have it be so personal, but like, take a second, right? Really think. Where have you actually improved, and where have you not improved at all, right? You have to kind of sit there and just be blunt about it. Oh, I actually haven't improved here, right? And that's what I've noticed in a couple of things in my life. So I'm going to keep hacking away at it, keep trying my best. The biggest thing is you got to go through the experiences, go through the tough moments, go through the moments where your character is tested, put yourself in difficult situations whenever possible. It's only in those moments where you'll actually start to feel real growth and real improvement in those issues that you're battling right now. So that's what I'm saying. That is the point of this whole kind of talk, this whole kind of spiel, is to say that step one is being honest. Step one is reflecting, understanding where you fall short, understanding that even if you think you've gotten better in certain aspects, there's actually an internal thing where your self-control is actually lacking still, and you actually haven't improved. Recognize that, realize that, understand that. That's step one. Step two is actually putting it into action. You can sit there and you can think, you can just sit there and reflect for many hours. Nothing's actually been accomplished, right? Most of the time you'll forget about what you actually said. And, you have to give your words power, right? You have to mean what you say, and you have to absolutely, whatever you speak out into the world, into the universe, becomes true. That's how it has to be. Otherwise, your own brain is not going to take what you say as true, ever. So you're going to constantly keep falling back into those same cycles of sin, of failure, and of just temptations and despair. It's a good word for it. You have to take the action. You can sit there and think and think and think, but you're never actually going to make a difference. You're never actually going to properly improve on those things you need to improve on until you take the action. And what does the action mean? It means going in and, actually doing better, right? Instead of being lustful, instead of, sitting in your house late at night, whatever happens, right? And, watching that terrible thing, go outside, experience the world, talk to some people, meet new people, or just talk to people you already know. Be out there. That is the action you take with regards to that. With regards to, let's say, smoking, right? Weed or something, drugs, whatever, that type of an addiction. The solution to that is, well, first of all, you have to stop buying them, right? That's step one. Obviously, I know it's easier said than done, but it's an easy thing. You just, don't buy it, right? It just, just, throw it all out. right? When the moment's right, start hanging out with people that will influence you in a better direction. And well, whenever you're in that moment of temptation, you got to find something to do instead, right? You got to like kind of create that system in your brain where it's like when you're tempted in this way, you go and do that. A good way is maybe whenever you're tempted, you go out for a run, right? And you kind of put that energy into, an actual something that's actually useful for you, physical, pushing yourself physically. So that's what I would say with regards to that. But just generally, like being in difficult situations, I worked a door-to-door job. I hated it, but it was important for my growth. That's an example I can give you. Put yourself in a job or put yourself in a physical pursuit, in a physical situation, have tough conversations. Whatever the difficult thing is that you don't want to do it. The more you can do and you can push yourself to do those things you don't want to do, the more it will translate into actually the way you behave as a person when you're in the moment of temptation. Because unfortunately, the temptation won't go away. It's not really possible for you to completely lose it if you've fallen into some sort of an addiction like that. It's not possible. Unfortunately, once the devil gets a hold of you, it's very hard to break free. But with the power of God and with the power of continuing to strengthen yourself every day by putting yourself through other difficult things that have nothing to do with your struggle, your addiction, nothing to do with it. But it's because you put yourself through it and you've kind of put it in your brain that you can actually push, right? You can actually push the barriers, push the boundaries of what you thought was possible in your own life. Once you find that breakthrough, you realize that okay, everything else becomes easy. And that's what you got to seek. That's what you got to seek to do. That's what you got to strive towards. Me in my life, I have my problems. Obviously, I've gotten better in many ways, but there's many things I have to improve on. So that's what I'm going to be dedicating these next couple of months, couple of years towards doing, just being a better person. That is really the ultimate thing. And continuing to actually glorify God as much as I say I do it and I don't. As Paul says, St. Paul in the letter to the Romans, he says, the things I ought not to do, I do. Sorry, no, it's the other way around. My bad. It is the things that I want to do, I don't do, but the things I ought not to do, I do. Because we're sinners, and that's kind of human nature. You have to understand that you'll fall, that you're not going to be perfect, but the more you can kind of test those boundaries, the more you can push yourself, push your body, push your mind to its limits, and stick to something and push past those boundaries, the better you will actually fare when dealing with the temptations of this world given by the devil, right? The better you'll do. So that is really the ultimate formula for growth. But really, the main point is just to start with being humble and honest with yourself. Reflect and realize that there are things that you actually have not improved in and need to do better at. But there are things that you have improved in and you are a lot better at. So you give yourself a little bit of grace for it. You don't want to beat yourself up. Give yourself a little bit of grace for the stuff you did well at and the stuff you've improved in. But the things that you actually need to improve it, you have to sit there, reflect, analyze, recognize them, call them out, and then seek to take action to ironing them out, tightening it together to being a better person each and every day. So continue to glorify God and make that your number one priority because, of course, again, the reason why the Bible exists is because it's an instruction for how you're supposed to live your life. The reason why God tells you to not do this is because it actually is bad for you to do it, right? Not to lust, not to be angry. It's bad for you in the long run. It can cause so many more issues than it fixes. If it even it doesn't fix anything though, other than your own internal temptation and desire to whatever satisfy whatever craving you might be feeling. So that is the ultimate message. Keep it God-centered, keep it God-focused, but keep it focused on just constant growth. You're growing because you're trying to be a better person, to sin less and glorify God. You're not growing because you want to be like a billionaire and make all of these amazing things happen and keep a legacy for yourself. Although legacy is important, if that becomes your number one target, that becomes your God, and that is going to destroy you in the long run. In the long run, it'll destroy you. So make it God-centered. Make it, I'm doing better because I want to glorify God and sin less and live a better life, and it will benefit me as well to do it. So that is my ultimate message with you. Be honest with yourself and be humble and you'll do better each and every day.